Good afternoon. It's a pleasure and a privilege being here, opening such a lovely occasion. I think in any given time in tech, there's always one hype to rule them all, right? There's always something that is bigger than life. Last 6 months, it's clearly been artificial intelligence, right? It's basically very hard to go anywhere without touching it from some point. Why I think it's particularly interesting, though, this time is that typically those tech trends are really interesting only for us working in the tech. They're typically only things that we care about and we talk about and we try to make them big. Big data, for example, is an example of such a big hype maybe 2 years ago that never really got down to the individual, down to the consumer. But every single person you talk to has an opinion of AI for some reason. Every single person, whether it's my father, Happy 74, whatever, they've all seen, 2001 Space Odyssey over 50 years ago, or my generation saw War Games. Everybody's seen some kind of science fiction where typically you have an artificial intelligence communicating with humans, and unfortunately mostly trying to kill them as well in the end, which I guess is why there's so much doubt and so much questions about this technology regarding what it's going to do to humankind more than anything ever was. The other thing is that it's also there's the other part of people who also have been on this already for decades. I mean, there might be some old timers here who were developing these algorithms already back in the early 90s and might say, what's new? We've been doing this all along. I think it's a relevant question. Why does it matter now? I think if there was ever one thing where all the prediction in IT worked and mattered, it was basically when they started talking about data explosion. About 10 years ago, world woke up to a fact that, hey, there's going to be lots and lots of new kinds of data, and it's going to be growing exponentially. And to be honest, it has happened. Why it's so relevant for AI is that it's not the same kind of data we always captured, right? We always used to capture transactional data between us and our customers, for example. But now we're getting all that contextual data, coming from machines, coming from social media, etc. The other important piece is, of course, the algorithms. They've been developing. A lot of those things were built a long time ago, but the reality is that little advancements we've been able to achieve, for example, in natural language processing and stuff like that, have basically raised the bar to a point where, for example, you can actually start having a conversation with a computer these days. And the third one is, of course, the compute. In other words, maybe the cloud. The fact that anybody coming up from a garage can now get their hands on capacity required to run very complicated algorithms and things, which was really never possible before. So in my view, when people talk about AI as being the future, I'm very much seeing that as being already here, being already the present. It's just a question in what kind of role and how fast. Now, of course, then the interesting question is that, is it easy for companies? Have companies been able to adopt it to any kind of level? I just came from Dreamforce, which is our annual conference in San Francisco last week, with 170,000 people in it. Quite a few, and there was a lot of conversation around these topics. And it's clearly, I would say, 9.9 out of 10 people that I ever spoke to were saying that, hey, we're just starting this journey. We need to be better at this. We're not really able to utilize AI as it is. Why is that? I think one of the things is also that the spectrum of AI is pretty large. If you look at it from I think Forrester calls it pure AI, autonomous vehicles, for example, vessels, all kinds of weird human or, I don't know, dinosaur-looking robots that talk and things like that. That pure AI part is very exciting. It turns me on for sure. I keep on reading about that stuff. But the thing is that it's pretty far away from let's say, an industrial or manufacturing company working, for example, here in Finland. So the other way of looking at this is something that also Forrester, I think, started this thing, is called pragmatic AI, which is really looking at how can I take artificial intelligence techniques, such as machine learning, natural language processing, deep learning, whatever they are, and embed them into the business processes that we have today or might have tomorrow to basically generate massively transformational value. And if I look at the reality of where we are today in this sort of an enterprise world and AI, this is pretty much what we're looking at. If I look at really, really good use cases of AI, there are things like, I don't know, maybe a local ship engine manufacturer who's able to not just grabs IoT data from their engines, but also GPS data about locations, directions, things like that, and start predicting things like maintenance intervals. With over 90% accuracy, for example. Is basically utilizing AI technologies without having any kind of a weird robot or a service talking to anybody, but it's very much on the path to what AI will provide to organizations. And such examples, of course, are many. How should one engage there then? I think one of the challenges many companies face is, of course, the fact that, okay, how do I start it? Do I need to hire myself an army of data scientists, buy a whole bunch of, I don't know, computing power from someplace and start programming something and then figure out what to do with it? Possibly. Of course, it's not very easy. So, for example, for us at Salesforce, we really needed to think about this one, that what does it mean to our customers? How do they want to deploy AI? And the end result is that we actually ended up embedding the AI engine, we call him Einstein, into our platform. So our point of view there is that, okay, when customers have use cases, because it all starts with a use case, there could be solutions that are already utilizing AI components that are readily available. And when they want to develop them further, then they need to get access to things like, I don't know, image classification libraries, all those natural language elements and things like that. And that's kind of one way of looking at it, is basically see what you can get, how intelligent can the platforms you work with become, and then build on that one, add intelligence as you go. And it's definitely something, at least based on last week's feedback, that it seems to be interesting the market quite a bit. Now, where is this thing going then? The other question is that what will it do to jobs? What it will do to our jobs? What it will do to the way this whole society works? There was an interesting study I heard about last week, I think was done by MIT and IBM, that basically predicted that about 10% of jobs will go away, but 100% of jobs will change. Every single job description that they could think about will have an impact from AI. And I think one of the things is also that's where the AI, is it artificial intelligence or augmented intelligence discussion comes into play, that this sort of a singularity that everybody's afraid of, like that there will be one super intelligent system that takes over everything. I don't know if that will ever happen, but at least it's pretty sure at this stage it's going to be rather far away. It's not going to be here. So it's going to be man and the machine working together. That's where the foreseeable future, and that's where the foreseeable value of AI certainly is. It's also important to understand that even if AI technologies have developed a lot and are capable of doing many things better than humans, they can beat us in chess, they can beat us in Go now, which was quite impressive. There are still many things humans are pretty good at. If you look at, take a, I don't know, image classification algorithm, you have like a picture of a microphone. You have 1,000 pictures of a microphone, you feed them to an algorithm from different positions, it gets pretty good at detecting that microphone. You show a microphone to a, let's say, 3-year-old, yeah, they can probably detect it in any picture after that one, right? There's still many, many, many things that we can do better as humans. And I think when we join our forces together, that's where the real value comes from. But it all comes and it all starts with a question. We have to think about what is it in our business that can take that pragmatic AI, deploy it somewhere that has transformational value. I think AI is here to say we are going to be living with AI for the rest of our lives. It's not the future. It's basically the future that already started some time ago. And I think my time is up right now. Thank you very much.